This video is proudly sponsored by DigimonCard.io for all your Digimon card, deck building, deck list, card pricing, and discussion needs. Hey everyone, Egman here with another video, and today we have the Pro Play Games MomoCon Digimon Tournament Top 16 from this past weekend. It is a convention tournament with about 76 players, hosted by Pro Play Games, and it was a BT8 with both starter decks legal, as well as a best of 3 with mulligans, so a little bit different than what the standard kind of tournament rules are, but we're going to go over that today. Also, I want to shout out PPG for giving us the deck list to look at as well. They are the kind of picture submissions, and some of them are a little rough, so I just went in and just put them all in here for the DigimonCard.io, just so you guys can see the cards a little bit better. And for people who aren't, familiar with BT8 cards, there's going to be clear pictures and effects for everything. So if that's worth a like on the video, I'd appreciate it. But we're just going to go over this. So obviously, Yellow Hybrid's still doing really, really well. And their infographic too, real quick, they had something called Yellow War Greymon Hybrid as one of the decks, which was this one, and it has one, but then also this one has one, and then it got named like Yellow Hybrid. So I just said, 6 Yellow Hybrids for this event, which is fine for where we're at. We did see 3 Imperial Dramons, 2 Mastamons, 2 Armor Rushes, 1 Ancient Blue Hybrid, 1 Red Hybrid, and 1 Beelstar Control as well. So moderately diverse, I would say. I think Yellow Hybrid, Imperial Dramon, and Mastamon, the 3 kind of strongest decks in the format. Armor Rush also getting some wins. I'd also say for how big this tournament was, 76 players, I think a top 8 cut would kind of be a little bit better for what we're doing. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 Yellow Hybrids, 2 Imperial Dramons, a Mastamon, and a Blue Hybrid there. So I think that kind of gets a better snapshot of what we're at. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure whoever got, the 16th, 15th, they probably went like 3 or like 4-3 or something. If there's 7 rounds, which I doubt there were, there might be 6 rounds. I don't know the specifics for there, but I think for just based on 76 players, a top 8 cut is kind of a little bit more indicative for what we're at, because I think some X3s could get top 16 with 76 players, but I don't think that's anything to diminish these people getting their top 16 finishes with these decks. We're going to go over each kind of top deck for each archetype, and then we're just going to go down the line. So we are going to look at James O'Leary's Yellow Hybrid, went undefeated for the event. This is pretty consistent for what we're seeing in a lot of ways, like the 4 Patamons, 2 Salas, 4 Rapids, the hybrid package, some fall down mode, and some Susanomons, as well as a smattering of Tamers, 2 TKs and Karis. I think a lot of people are trying to just move away from this TK Kari. It's not seeing as much use, especially since we get so much recover options in this deck that most of the time you're going to be having more, security than your opponent, so it doesn't really proc. And if you want to do, the minus 2k, the Cody's there for that too, so just a little bit better for us. The kind of tech card in this is Holy Flame. So this is from the first starter deck, or at least the first yellow starter deck. Main, one of your opponent's Digimon gets security attack -3. Also, security, all of your opponent's Digimon gain security attack -1 for the turn. So very kind of powerful there to kind of stun your opponent. Also, it's only costs 2 and go from there. Eden's Javelin and Wyvern's Breath, kind of the go-to yellow options for security and just general removal. Yellow Hybrid is very good right now. It's not going to be stopping being any good, I don't think, in the near future. And I think it's just going to keep doing what it does. So here's the 2 hybrid versions that have a War Gray. But as you can see, most like 40 cards from this deck are understood. And it's just kind of your personal choices from there. Next up, we're going to look at Luis's Galino's second place Imperial Dramon. So unlike if we kind of went over the Carta Magica tournament that happened this past weekend too, and that had over 500 players, but it was not starter deck legal. So we obviously didn't see any Imperial Dramon or Mastamon. So looking at this list, some kind of key points for this is you just kind of go up your line with Pale Dramon. And I think that this deck is also more or less understood of what you want to do with it. The top end is kind of where the difference is, but everyone's running 4 Pale Dramons, everyone's running 2 Dino B, everyone's playing 4 of this X3-1, 4 of this Stingmon, some Lydramons, a Lobomon or 2, and then whatever Vmons you like the most. So 4 of the Memory Gainer on Restand, 3 of the Jamming, 4 of the Searcher from the Star Deck, and then 2 from Star Deck 2 to get the draw 1 when it gets unsuspended. So just your own VMons from there. Doing 2 of the Fighter mode, and then also the Omnimon for your top end for just 1 more kind of damage if you need to on Blitz. From there, 2 Mega Death, a Hidden Potential discovered. This lets you go into anything from a green Digimon. So this can also mean like your Imperial mode, Dragon mode into your Fighter mode, or even just going like you have to start with something that's green. But since your Powdermon, Dino Beamon, and even your Chimeramon, as long as you have a green underneath it, can go into one of your dudes for cheap, which is kind of nice. In general, super solid list. I think we're going to see a lot of Imperial coming forward, and it's a very good force when it goes off. It's very, very strong. Next up, we do have Kevin Tai's Ancient Blue Hybrid. This is the only blue hybrid that got in the top 16, which is a little refreshing, especially since it is not the kind of the Tommy Tamer centric where there's a lot of stun. It's more of like a Magna kind of build with it. I wouldn't call this ancient. They call it ancient. I'd call this Magna Garuma, like Magna hybrid kind of version, because it's based on using this with the Koji to get your swings and kind of get a lot of value from there. The ancient pack is just there because you do get the extra value, and sometimes you can go into it, but I do like the kind of package we have here. So I don't really have much to say with this. This kind of existed for a while. I think the Tommy variant is more popular, but I think this is something that can be good and maybe is a little bit more popular with the meta that we're seeing kind of right now. In general, just having like a lot of swings on a couple of your dudes, I think gets a lot of mileage. And I think like the big thing with the yellow hybrid in general, if you look at this, like there are like a couple of scary cards in it, but there's not a lot, right? A lot of them are just tamers. A lot of them are just like level 4s or lowers. There's just a couple like fall down mode or Susanamon that you're a little bit afraid of, but there's not a lot of like big, like it's not full security control. It's just like builds a lot of security, but it's not incredibly scary. So if you're playing a deck like this that can do a lot of damage on security very quickly, then they can have a hard time kind of keeping up with that. So I think this is a good choice for kind of that meta. Next up, we do have Mastamon. So this is Gunwoo Lee's top 8 Mastamon. I think Mastamon, I don't know. What I like about this the most is that it has a kind of core of, you got to run 4 Godamons, right? You got to run some Mastamons. You got to run maybe some Lucimons, maybe some, at least 3 Magnas. You got to get your, 4 Flame Hell Scythes, fall down modes, Zort. But from there, you kind of have like some creativity with how you kind of want to structure your deck and kind of go from there. So there's just kind of a lot of nice kind of ratios based on what you want to do. The Wizardmon, I don't see this card very often, but it is in here. I think it's just to try to get into Salamon. So even if you don't see your Godamon, your Salamon can help you do your end of turn DNA Digivolution, which is nice. We do have some Lady Devs and some Magnemon, Aandroidd, and the Chaos mode. The only thing I'd say is that there's not a lot of, yellow level 5s in this build. So I could see you having a little bit of trouble finding that all the time. But besides that, it's looking good. I don't know how I feel about Chaos Degradation. It's fine. You just place one of your opponent's Digimon face down to the top or bottom of your opponent's security stack if you do track the top card of their stack. So it gets rid of a card without like getting it kind of bypasses destruction a lot. But and then in security, just place one of your opponent's Digimon face down at the top or bottom of their stack. So like it gets rid of the card, but it's kind of expensive. But like I don't know. It's an interesting card because it also gets around on deletion effects too, and I think there's a lot of things that can get around this too, but it also is just very costly and sometimes kind of hard to get off. But it's interesting. I'll maybe have to try it out a little bit more and see what I think about it. Next up, we do have Josh Stallworth's Armor Rush. This got 9th place for the event. I do like this build, and I have tried very, very hard to enjoy Armor Rush, and it's never worked out. And I'm okay with being the problem with that and not enjoying or not figuring out how to play this deck. But the kind of interesting things I do like about this is that there are some level 5s with Chimeramon and Impildramon as well. There's not a huge armor package. I mean, there's just the 12, but you just do Flamedramon, Magna, and Lydramon. Kind of like just the basic ones with the Vmon. So you get the reduction there too. You have the Gigadeath. as well. So suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then place up to 10 of your opponent's suspended Digimon at the bottom of their owner's deck in any order. And then, which is quite a build, a way to pop a bunch of things, especially since you don't have a lot of ways to suspend your opponent's stuff, but it can be kind of good there. Davis as well, running more of the blue-green one than the blue one is interesting in my book. I think I always like this one more because you get to find your VMons. You can find anything that's not Chimeramon, so I think that's kind of good. 4 fire rockets as well to do that security attack +1. One of the Peldramons, which is nice because you do have the Lydramon, so you just have to find this and then any of your other level 4s and you can go into it, which can do like your last 2 swings if you need to. It's an interesting build. Maybe I'll have to try this version of it, but I am still not convinced on Armor Rush. And we'll have to see if it keeps doing well in the next couple tournaments. We do also have, so this is Hunter's 14th place Beelstar Control. Some interesting choices here, especially the Susanamon. This doesn't seem like, I kind of understand why, because you have Beelstarmon and then you can go into Susanamon. But that's like the only thing, right? You're not playing a lot of Tamers. You can't like I don't know, you can't like refill your deck. Like I could see like if this was to refill your deck so that you can I don't know, like not mill yourself out, because you do a lot of milling in this deck, especially with the new Darkness Wave to trash top deck cards your deck. If you have a yellow Digimon in play, which you never will, you can play a purple, or you just add one to your hand, a yellow or purple card, but or Digimon card. But I don't know, like you just do. I don't know if there's a way for this to digivolve on top of the Tamer, so you could get the restack into your deck, so you could kind of live a little bit longer if you're afraid of mill. But obviously, it's a good card to just play, and then like you pop a bunch of stuff, especially since Beelstar will probably cost very little by the end of the game, that you can just free play Susanamon. But I don't. It's interesting. It's an interesting choice, and I'd like to see the reasoning for that one. Most of the time I see like people playing either Zort Defeats or even like a Millenniummon, just because that gets the pop and then it has like a little protection, especially since Millenniummon or even like an Omnimon Zort, it lets you return the Beelstar to hand, so you can activate it again the next turn. But I digress. There's also the Mist Memory Boost in this to trash cards, new from BT8. I think this is a good choice for what we're doing. Glaive Memory Boost to add probably a Beelstar back from hand. There's no of the Imp Monster have back Beelstars, which is interesting, but Call from the Darkness does too. So that's kind of nice as well. So I don't know. I think it's interesting that Beelstar is still popping up, because like compared to the Carta Magica tournament too, we had a bunch like like the fringe decks were like a Red Hybrid and Beelstar Control, and it showed up again today. So. And then lastly, this is more of, instead of like the One Punch Ancient Greymon, though that kind of exists a little bit, this does use more of the Takuya to go up your chain and kind of go into Emperor Greymon if you need to as well. We're seeing Red Hybrid do well a little bit. Like it was a fringe deck last format, and I think it's probably still one of the better red decks right now. But it's fine. It's in an okay spot, I think. Like if you're playing against Yellow Hybrid and you're able to just get your checks off, I think this is good. Like this does not lose a lot to like a Yellow Hybrid unless they hit their security, like Eden's Javelin or Wyvern's Breath. Everything else you can just kind of steam through with just a giant Ancient Greymon swing, which is kind of nice. Surprising no of the like a Delicate Plans or even an Omnimon to go over with these to get the final swing, but I think it looks like a solid list. And Crimson Blaze is a really good card. So just having a deck that can play this card can already kind of be a little bit meta viable just for existing. So, but that is going to be our top 16 breakdown for today. Again, if you guys want to see this document, it is in the description. Not behind membership today. Again, thank you to PPG for publishing their website too. If you want to check out theirs, that'll be in the description too, and giving us these lists to kind of look at and determine what our thoughts are in this these first couple weeks of the BT8 meta. But again, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.
Damn it. Damn it. damn it.